Hey everyone, and welcome to 6.4 Hyperbolas, the last of the conic sections that we will be discussing. Let's jump right in. The definition of a hyperbola is the set of all points xy, the difference of whose distances from two fixed points called the foci is a positive constant. What I did was, remember conic sections right here, we said if we have two cones and we slice them this way, that is the hyperbola. So I mean, it's kind of like a double parabola, but it doesn't have the same exact shape as a parabola. Okay, let's look at the equations. First standard equation is x minus h squared over a squared. Notice how it's minus, not plus. Y minus k squared over b squared equals 1. That is when we have a transverse axis that is horizontal, and I'll show you what that means in just a second. Or here's the other one. Let's say it's vertical. Y goes first this time. Y minus k squared over a squared minus x minus h squared over b squared equals 1. Okay, so here is the book picture. That way we can kind of go through this together. This is the parabola. The focus is going to be inside the curve, so they're not going to be together. They're going to be apart, opposite sides of the hyperbola. And the distance d2 minus d1, that number is always going to be constant. Okay, no matter what. This one minus that one, you get the same thing, and it's always going to be a positive. So here's what we have. We don't have a major axis or minor axis anymore. It's kind of the same thing as a major axis, but because there's only one axis, they don't call it major and minor. They just call it the transverse, because it does go through the hyperbola. So it's called the transverse axis. Goes to the center, goes to the vertex, goes to the foci. So they call it the transverse axis. So this one would be a transverse axis is horizontal. All right, and then if it goes vertical, if we were to switch the book around this way, the transverse axis would be vertical. All right, so it's kind of saying which way do they open. Do they open horizontal or do they open vertical? It'll tell you which equation to use from in here. Okay, so that's what a hyperbola looks like. Let's go through and just do a couple of extra things down here. We know A, still the same thing. It's a vertex, and it's the vertex distance from the center, hk, and c is the foci distance from hk, just like we have done before. This time c squared equals a squared plus b squared, not a squared minus b squared. Okay, so there's all sorts of stuff we have. In ellipses, it didn't matter which one was a or b, we just said which one was bigger. In hyperbolas, it does matter. We want to say a is always going to be first, not second. So you say, which way is it opening? Is it opening vertically? Okay, then I know y is going to go first. If it's opening horizontally, then I know x is going to go first. All right, let's try an example. Here we are, example 1. There it is. Find the standard form of the equation of the hyperbola with foci at -1, 2, and 5, 2, and vertices at 0, 2, and 4, 2. All right, so the first thing we want to do is say, which equation should this be? Is it going to be x squared or y squared? Which way is the transverse axis? Good question to ask is, which one of these numbers is staying the same? Is it the x's or the y's? I see a 2, and a 2, and a 2, and a 2 for all of them. That means all the y's are staying the same, which means that it's going to be opening this way and opening this way. So that means the transverse axis is going to be horizontal. So we know it's going to be horizontal. So that means I know my equation is going to be x minus h squared all over a squared minus y minus k squared over b squared is going to equal 1. Now all I really have to do is figure out what everything is. I can probably find out my center from either one of these. What's halfway between 0 and 4, or halfway between -1 and 5? And that would be 2. And halfway between the 2's is 2. So I know my center is at 2, 2. So I'm going to say x minus 2 squared minus y minus 2 squared equals 1. All right. Next, do we know how far away the vertices are from my center? They are 2 away, so 2 squared is going to be 4. From 0, 2 to 2, 2 is going to be a distance of 2, and from 2, 2 to 4, 2 is also a distance of 2, just as a double check. That works out. All right, do I know how far away my foci are? Well, from 5 to 2 is going to be 3, so I can say that C equals 3, A equals 2. We need to find B, so we can write it down here. So we can say c squared equals, and it's a squared plus b squared, not minus. This is kind of where it gets tricky, because there's all the stuff is almost the same except for a plus here and a minus there, and switch the a's here and don't switch the a's there, so it gets a little confusing. C squared is going to be 9 equals 4 plus b squared. All right, and then subtract 4, and I should get 5 equals b squared. I don't really need to go any further because that's the number that goes here, so I can just say 5, and there is the equation. Alright, next video we will talk about asymptotes, and you will get an assignment.